What's up, mortgage coach community? Dave Savage here. And today I am interviewing someone I've interviewed one time before. Sometime I've wanted to interview for a long time. It's taken a bit to lasso in Lisa Gustafson. What's up, Lisa?
Just living the dream.
Living the dream. Well,
Working from home and, trying to keep the dogs from barking and the kids from playing piano in the same room I'm in. And
well, if either or both of those things happen, just let it roll. I've got dogs and I have kids and I'm good with it all.
All right.
All right. So for folks that may not know you, if you could just tell everybody what market you're in and a little bit about your mortgage practice.
Sure. I am in Fort Collins, Colorado. So really we cover northern Colorado. So there's Fort Collins, Loveland, Windsor, Greeley, kind of a 3-city or small city area. Have been in the mortgage business since 1997, I believe. Mostly have always focused on builder. So I'm usually about somewhere between 50 and 70% builder, depending upon the market. So that's always kind of been my specialty, but obviously have been in the market a long time. So have done a lot of other business as well.
And what type of loan volume do you typically do? And what are you doing right now?
The last couple of years, I've been between 70 and 80 million. Last year, we were just over 100. And this year, I don't know, probably end up 120, somewhere in that range. I really haven't.
And how many families? What's the loan volume like? How many units?
40 to 50 a month, generally.
Killing it. So super, super busy. And you have dogs. And how many kids do you have?
3 kids, 2 daughters in college. So a little bit different year this year because they've been home. And then 1 son in high school.
Oh, awesome. My youngest is graduated and we're moving him into Syracuse in 2 weeks. So
oh, nice.
I'll be an empty nester.
From college?
Excuse me?
Graduated from college?
No, he's going to be a freshman.
Going to college. Gotcha.
Yeah. He just graduated from high school and we'll be moving him into Syracuse in 2 weeks. Well, actually 10 days. So empty nester, here we come.
Oh, that'll be fun.
yeah, it'll be interesting. Hopefully
and quiet.
Hopefully he can stay there, and it works out. So cool.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, thanks for making time for this. Mortgage Coach community, if you have questions for Lisa, put them down below, but she's obviously doing a tremendous amount of volume. She's killing it. I'd love to know, like, what is your why? What is it to do that level of volume? You've obviously got a why that drives that. What is it?
Yeah. Part of it is I love the work. I love my clients. I love the whole idea of helping people attain home ownership. I really believe in that. The other personal part of it is just the freedom that having, financial stability gives me to make choices on how I spend my time and, kids sporting events that I go to and traveling that we do. And, that's kind of the personal why, is the freedom it provides our family. But why I've always done it is I just truly love this business.
Yeah, no, it's a fun business. And what's your mortgage coach why? Because you've done a lot of total cost analysis. So what's driving all that activity?
Well, selfishly, it saves me a lot of time. It's a really easy way to, you get a presentation in for a borrower, and then you have that for life. And so then every time you go back and you're doing another transaction for a borrower, or when that transaction is changing, you've got your base and you can go in there and make quick changes. So it's very, very time effective for me. It's the fastest way I know to get numbers out. It also allows me a lot more freedom in my work because I can record the video when I send out the presentation and do a lot of explanation. And so, if I didn't get it done in a reasonable time during the day to call the borrower back, if it's 9 o'clock at night and I don't want to be on the phone, I'll record the video, send it out with the video. It's still very personal. It still helps build the relationship, but it allows me to expand my work day to kind of meet when it's most convenient for me to work during that day. So.
That's interesting you said that, because I interviewed Amber Kovark. She's in Chandler, Arizona, did 45 loans this month. And she was saying that, she loves Mortgage Coach because it saves her time. And she's like, my day job right now is helping realtors of doing purchase And she's like, after hours, I'm doing mortgage coach TCAs with videos for refis. So it sounds like you're doing kind of the same thing.
Yeah, really similar. I mean, you're on the phone during the day, and you're just trying to kind of keep things afloat. And then, once either early in the morning or late at night, that's when you can actually kind of dig in and get the work done, analyzing deals and really looking at what's best for a borrower and putting that together for them. And so this allows me to do that and send it out to them, no matter what time it is. So.
I love it. Well, let's jump in and almost think of this mortgage coach community as a virtual site visit with Lisa for 20 minutes. She's obviously, it looks like a home office that she's in. She's got dogs, she's got kids, she's got a piano. And why don't you share your desktop and let's just jump into the mortgage coach. Before you show a TCA, let's go into the advice engine because guys, this is where the magic happens. And by the way, do you create most of your TCAs or does your team create your TCA?
I would say 95% I create. So
wow. Okay.
Yeah, that's kind of my role. If another loan officer were to take a lead for me because I'm on vacation or something, they would obviously do it. But otherwise, that's my role, is the initial call, preparing that, putting together the scenarios and kind of the best match for the customers, and then they take it generally from there. So
got it. So that's the same workflow as Jeremy Forcier, who closes around 300 loans a year. Typically, he's already closed 300 loans in 2020, and he's like, I do the TCA, my assistant does others. But I interview other top producers that do as much volume, that their team does it, and then that's it. So there's not a right answer there, guys. Yeah. She's on our gamification screen, and you'll notice that she's done 2,973 TCAs. You are a grandmaster, so thank you for the role you have. Could you click on that little box with the arrow pointing out? I want to just call. Guys, we turn you into mortgage advisors. So if you're listening to Lisa, you're like, okay, that's crazy business. I can't relate. Oh my God, she's done 3,000 TCAs. I can't relate. We're going to teach you how to go from white belt to orange belt to blue belt. And we've built gamification into the product. So just know that. Lisa, we're going to go through a specific client. You said you wanted to show this refi. Could you go to that real quick? Just because before you go to and show the consumer side, I want to show something. Like go in it where we could add a video. I want everybody to see that right now you're looking at the loan officer view, and you'll notice in the upper right-hand corner, she can add a video. And when you click that add video, do you typically do it from your desktop or your mobile phone?
I still do it from my desktop because I have a Droid, and I just haven't been happy with the picture on the Droid.
Well, come on, we got to get an iPhone. So someone get Lisa an iPhone, but notice she could just upper right-hand corner, she could click and add a video. Now it sounds like you use that feature on the right a lot where it says review and highlight. Is that something you use a lot?
Yeah, I guess I always enter from the, the more traditional here screen. So right. Yeah, I've probably been using it that long that these buttons are fairly new.
So Lisa, you've been, old school with Mortgage Coach. People, we put a button, so no matter what screen you're on in Mortgage Coach, you can add a video or do highlights. So just make note, Lisa.
Yeah,
that's
great.
New for you.
Yeah.
Now go to back to the home screen. You can either just click on client or click on the logo. You have not added strategy templates, Lisa. Highly recommend that you do. And this will save you time. So like you could take a really common scenario. Actually, go back to that one you were just in, because I'm going to show you a little hack. And you see the second column down where it says, is this a strategy template? The second thing down, is this a strategy template?
On which side of the screen?
Left side, the left side.
Okay.
So where you do the data input, it says, is this a
yeah. Okay.
Say yes real quick.
Okay.
Now go back to the home screen and you'll notice, go back to the input, and she has a category now called strategy template. So think about this, Lisa, whatever you do the most common, you'll have that strategy template. Now, like click on that real quick, click on strategy template and click on the actual strategy template right next to, there you go, right there.
Okay.
Click on the actual client and say new client. And now it takes that strategy and although, let's say you spent 2 to 3 minutes filling that out, it's all filled out, ready to go. So just make note of that.
Yeah, perfect.
Okay, now let's go to the TCA that you wanted to show. I think it was a refi TCA. However you want to walk through that. And just, I always like to, every time I interview someone like you that uses our product a lot and kills it in the market, there's always scripts and nuances that we get out of it. So do you email this or text it to clients?
Generally I email it with, I have an email template with not a lot of information, but just enough to kind of get them around. This borrower in particular is, he sent me the initial information all in an Excel spreadsheet of every property he owns, the date he acquired it, the value, what the interest rate is, what the exact payoff on the mortgage is. So he's a very detail oriented, kind of old school guy, was all in the Excel spreadsheet.
Right. So you had a really, well prepared, had a sophisticated client.
Yeah. Yep.
All right.
And so what he was looking at was, should he just refinance his primary residence and lower his interest rate, or could we pull some cash out of that primary and pay off 2 rentals and improve their cash flow? He happens to actually, his wife is still working, but he actually has been in between jobs, kind of partly due to COVID. So the cash flow was intriguing to them. So those second 2 columns basically was taking his primary residence, up to the full 510, but that was going to give him enough cash to pay off about $2,000 a month in monthly payments, the other 2 mortgages. So was saving him $1,200 to $1,300 a month in cash flow. And then the final column, I just showed him once he goes back to work and his cash flow position improves, he can start throwing that $1,500, back towards the mortgage if he wanted to, and improve the situation even more.
Yeah, it looks like pay off his house in 14 years. You know?
Yep.
So let's go back into the advice engine. I want to see what it does to his net worth real quick. Go into the advice engine real quick and go to this particular client. And I just want you guys to see the power of what you could do. So,
I can't see my.
yeah, don't worry about it. We're in no hurry here. So I want you guys to just see that, like what Lisa's doing, she's going beyond the transaction. Typical loan officer, here's your rate, here's your payment, here's your cash to close. And if they are pushed by the client to give options, it's like multiple fee worksheets, or it's this PDF that's not dynamic, it's not interactive, that has rate, payment, cash to close. What Lisa's doing is she's going beyond the transaction. She's always giving options, right? So, I mean, that's part of your magic.
Yeah, I mean, what you said is exactly right. I can't imagine just sending out multiple fee worksheets to a borrower. I think there's definitely been a time in my life when I've done that. And then every once in a while I'll have a borrower that just is stuck on that, and they make me turn my beautiful presentation into 6 fee worksheets, and it drives me crazy. It just seems so silly to send out, that type of information when you can lay it all side by side for them, and they can make a much more educated decision. So.
Yeah, and then the other part is showing the cost over time goals. So average loan officers are focused on the transaction, and the only goal they care about is what day do we want to close and what rate are we going to get, which it's important. That's the transactional goal. But there are other goals that families have. And so every time she's delivering, it's options and goals. And then I know that she's using the features like, hey, what if you refinanced and you kept making the same payment? Or what if we sold your home and you moved up to a bigger home and we kept some of those proceeds and we put it in an interest-bearing investment account? So it's beyond the transaction. What else do you do before we pull up this mortgage coach report? What else do you do beyond the transaction to support your clients and that you think give you a competitive advantage?
Well, generally speaking, we just try to stay in contact with them. Annual reviews, just reaching out. When the market is slower, a lot of times I'll proactively update their mortgage coach when it's time to do their annual review and kind of send them out this is what it would look like if you refinance to a 15-year, or, if you wanted to pull cash out, and just send that out to them proactively. When it's this busy, that obviously isn't feasible, but it's a great way to reach out and stay in contact with them. In a slower environment, when you are just trying to maintain the customer for life. I mean, that really is, once we do your loan once, we want to do it every time. And I also want to be the one to tell them if it doesn't make sense. I mean, there's been so many clients that I've used this to show them that they shouldn't refinance. It isn't saving them enough money, even though it sounds great on their $90,000 loan to go from 4.5 to 2.75, it doesn't make sense. And so this is really one of the only ways I've been able to show people that, maybe you shouldn't refinance. It really doesn't make sense for you, which I love to do that too, because I hate to see people waste money when it isn't a good choice for them.
So I don't know you well enough to know exactly all your secrets of success, but 3 things that I just pulled out: servant's heart. She just wants to do right by people. You could tell she's not bummed when she actually shows someone that refi doesn't make sense. And she's super consistent. That's clear by the fact she's done 2,700 of these things. It's like, she's a machine. She works hard. And you just listen to her, just talking to her, you're like, this is just an honest person that is doing their best to help you. So what do you think is your secret to success? Like, if you really thought about it, what is your secret to this kind of
well,
stuff?
I think you hit it. I mean, I don't do anything really amazing, spectacular, but I'm very consistent. And I don't know who, where I learned this, but it was early on. And they said, always do what's best for your customer and everything will work out. And I really just try to, kind of keep that in mind. And so sometimes when I'm talking to a borrower and I can't even tell, they just give me all these notes and numbers, and we want to do this, but we maybe want to do that. And I can't even really tell what's best for them or what will work. And so then I just start plugging the numbers into Mortgage Coach. And then as I start plugging the numbers in and just looking at it, a lot of times it helps me, really figure out how to give them the best advice. So it simplifies things for me. It takes a lot of moving parts and allows me to, kind of make an actual solid decision. I can't make the decision for them, but to give them the information to make a solid decision, especially when you have people that are really kind of all over the place in what they want to do.
Yeah, I love this. So guys, some closing thoughts. And if you have questions, put them down below. But I didn't make these up. These are the 3 essentials to making a smart mortgage decision. If I had, whether I was Mr. Mortgage Coach or not, if I had a family member getting into mortgage debt, I would say get options. Like, if you don't have options, you don't have transparency. Look at those options over time, more than just monthly. Like, what do you want to move up? You got to look at the options over time. Number 3, always look for strategies to either get out of debt faster or to build wealth faster, like strategies. So these are the 3 essentials. And that's what Mortgage Coach drives. You remind me a lot, and you said a number of things. This interview I did on Tuesday, which anybody watching this, it's a must-watch interview. I interviewed Amber Kovark. She closed 45 loans last month. She's doing a lot of these right now. And I want to hear your thoughts on this, Lisa. But it was a client who was like, hey, they're a homeowner. They could have refied and saved $322. Moving up and getting an extra room because they had another child and they wanted one more room after 4 months of COVID, would have cost an extra $507 with 5% down. Now they had equity. So they could have sold their home and then taken $125,000, recasted their mortgage, and they could have actually lowered their payment by $164. But you know what they picked? They picked strategy 3, which was move up. Let's get the dream home. Let's get the extra room. Let's put $125,000 in the bank. So let's improve our liquidity. And look at this, guys. 15 years later, they're going to have almost $1 million in net worth compared to 570. Is that the kind of thing do you do a lot of those?
Yeah. In fact, the one I was showing you earlier, I showed him the $1,500 principal reduction, and he said, well, you're a mortgage person. Would you pay down your mortgage? And I said, well, honestly, no, because, mortgage money is at 2.75%. So, as much as I would like to prepay and pay things down earlier, I've chosen to, invest money other places, because if you can get higher than 3% return, then you're going to do a lot better. So yeah, it really does show, and everybody has different risk tolerances. So I'm always respectful of, of that, but that's definitely, you just want to get them thinking bigger than just a 30-year mortgage and, paying it, the regular payment every month, and just really thinking about how it fits into their whole financial picture and in their whole net worth picture.
So 3 things I want you to write down that Lisa does, super clear. Every client, she is knowing what are their values, what are their goals beyond the transaction, what are their risk tolerance beyond the transaction. Give them options. And then you know what? Put them in your CRM and follow up every year beyond the transaction. Do that consistently. Do that for years. Mm-hmm. Keep your promises, and you could have this kind of success. So Lisa, any closing thoughts? It's not every day I get you in front of all your peers at Loan Depot and all your peers at Mortgage Coach. Any last words of wisdom?
One other thing that I actually forgot about until this morning that I use all the time, but a lot of this just becomes second nature, so I don't even think about it anymore. But being able to see when someone views their mortgage coach is really helpful. If you have a buyer that hasn't been active in a couple months, but then you get that trigger that they're viewing it, to give them a call, because you now know that they are back looking again, or even a deal you thought you might have lost, and then all of a sudden they're viewing their mortgage coach that you did for them, tells you that there might be trouble in the other the other path they took. So it's really helpful to know when your buyers or your borrowers are active, and that's super. I don't know any other tool that really gives you that visibility.
Well, now that you did that, I got to show one more thing, just to make this teachable for you guys. So, because that's what we do here, is we turn loan officers into mortgage advisors. And so these are the 3 principles. So from a business process, this is what you're doing. You're giving people options, you're showing total cost over time. And then guys, put your picture on it, personally brand yourself, have your company logo, make it shareable, put a personal video on it. That guys, this is how you become a fintech powered mortgage professional. And you just notice in Lisa's case, she's using technology super smart, but she's also just a real person. I mean, she's, art and science, super transparent. This is me using my brain. I'm connecting with you, but she's fintech powered. So she's using technology wisely. Thank you for that. One last question, just because there's so many new loan officers getting in the business, and there's still people that are struggling. They've done their first year in the business for 22 years. But let's answer it like it's first year in the business. Any wisdom you would give to new loan officers?
Got to build the relationships. It's hard, but you have to, and it's really hard now, because getting face to face with realtors and builders is even harder now in some ways. But actually, I think in some ways it is easier, because nobody else is doing it. So
right.
But I mean, it's a relationship business. That's how you stay in the business, 20 years plus. It's all based on relationships with your clients, with your builders, with the title company, with realtors. Your reputation, especially in my community, which is fairly small. I mean, it's what you have is your reputation. So
yeah. So build that reputation, one client at a time. If you're new, you've got
every deal matters.
Yeah, you would have people that you would invite to your wedding. And the beauty you have right now in the business is everybody needs a loan, or everybody knows someone that needs a loan, one of the two. So reach out, give them TCA. So Lisa, I really appreciate you making time.
Yeah, thank you for inviting me.
Yeah, no problem. And if you got value from this mortgage coach community, give it a like, share it with your manager. I think this is a great interview that would be worth sitting down as a branch manager, watching it, and then taking inventory. Guys, are you doing this? So Lisa, have an awesome day.
Yeah, you
Really
too.
appreciate your time and appreciate the leader you are in our community.
Thanks, Dave. You too.